Let's welcome to the show former Trump State Department counterterrorism coordinator Sales. Thank you so much for being here. I'm not making light of this, but this is Trump derangement syndrome to the max. Nobody is talking about Biden's open border and the folks that have crossed our borders and now embedded themselves in the United States as one of the main reasons that acts like this are happening here. It's because of the war. It's because of things Trump is doing to bring attack on the homeland. I mean, it sounds crazy.
We need to be very clear here that the terrorists are responsible for their terrorism and no one else. And we shouldn't try to deflect or change the subject. The fact is we're facing an elevated threat environment here in the United States. And I don't want to sound alarmist, but just look at the numbers. 4 suspected terrorist attacks on American soil just in the last 2 weeks. And we have to assume that more people, deranged lunatics like this, are going to be inspired to take matters into their own hands. We actually have 2 different kinds of terrorist threats that we have to worry about now. One is members of Iran-backed terror groups that might be here. And the second is people who are not formally part of a terrorist organization, but who are radicalized and inspired to commit attacks on their own. This is no time for us to be pointing fingers in partisan politics. It's time to buckle down and address the threat.
And the president is aware that these people are in the country. It's not like we're oblivious to this. But the war in Iran, just to be clear, is to eradicate this regime, to eradicate its weapons arsenal and its threat that it poses basically globally.
Exactly right. Iran has been the world's worst state sponsor of terrorism, and it's lasted for 47 years. The war didn't start 2 weeks ago. It started when Iranian radicals took a bunch of American diplomats hostage in Tehran, and it's continued over the years and decades since then. So the point of the war is to degrade the regime's ability, destroy the regime's ability to use force and threaten Americans in the region and threaten Americans here at home. Over the past 25 years, the FBI estimates that no fewer than 128 Hezbollah operatives, the Lebanese terrorist group that's backed by Iran, have been arrested here in the United States. That gives you a sense of the scale of the threat that Iran poses to the homeland.
And I want you to listen to this because a liberal guest on CNN actually tried to blame the United States for the 9/11 terror attack.
No matter what happens with Iran and the United States, that there will be some sort of long-term consequences that we may not see in the next few weeks or months or years, but may come some decades later, just as we saw in 1979 with the Iran hostage crisis, which happened because of 1953 when we overthrew their democratically elected government. And the same thing happened when we saw 9/11. That was because of the United States' involvement in the first Gulf War and had a long-term effect.
I just want to go back to 9/11 for a second. The idea that the United States had it coming.
Never said that.
Is
never
insane.
said that. Don't put words in my mouth.
You did.
No,
you literally invented it.
I never said that. Let's have a no conversation. Let's have a no conversation.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm not going to allow you to sit here and lie about what I just said.
We did something and that caused it.
Scott, I don't even know why you're.
I mean, we're going to roll the tape later and everybody's going to see it.
Want to get your reaction to that because it's difficult to imagine not blaming terrorists for their actual actions.
Yeah, there's this weird impulse among some commentators to point the finger at the United States. If something terrible happens, well, the United States must have done something. And even if we didn't have it coming, blame the victim. 9/11 was al-Qaeda's fault. Khobar Towers was Iran's fault. The attacks on American citizens is ISIS's fault. It's ISIS-inspired attacks are ISIS's responsibility, not the American people's, not the American government. So we need to stop pointing fingers for domestic political advantage and keep our eyes on the real threat. There are terrorists in this world. They want to kill us. They want to kill us because we're Americans, not because we're Republicans, not because we're Democrats, because we're Americans. And as Americans, we need to fight back.
Nathan Sales, thank you so much for your time tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you.